I think that first, though, we should start with Ford. Ford made some moves.
They did.
Actually, just one move.
Yeah.
They made one move.
A couple of moves.
Yeah. One move that has a couple moves inside of the singular move.
They collabed,
They collabed, yes.
basically. Ford did a collab.
It's like a multi-movement movement.
Sure. A compound movement.
Compound. There we
It's
go.
a compound movement. So Tesla and Ford have collaborated. Basically, what's happening is Ford has realized that Tesla Superchargers are really, really good. And instead of contributing to a public network or building their own network, what they're doing is making their cars able to charge on as many Tesla Superchargers as possible via several movements. One of those movements is by enabling them in Ford Pass. So you get an adapter, theoretically, I believe, and in Ford Pass, you'll be able to pull up to any number of the enabled, I think, thousands of superchargers when this starts to go live and plug in your Ford EV at a Tesla Supercharger. The other move, which I think is actually way more interesting, is starting in 2025, all of Ford's new shipping EVs will have the NACS connector. For those who don't know, that's the North American charging standard, I believe it's called, but that's the connector that all of Teslas use in North America. It's basically the charging port from a Tesla.
Chargers, yeah.
So all of the Mach-E's and F-150 Lightnings and whatever other EVs they're making at that point, starting in 2025, will all have the Tesla connector, and they'll be able to plug into a supercharger with no adapter, max speeds. I assume if you have an adapter, you're limiting your speeds. That's a pretty big shift. That's one way of addressing our customers really need more chargers. How do we feel about this?
This just reminds me of this XKCD comic. If you've seen this one, I will read it to the audience.
That's a classic.
Situation. There are 4 competing standards. 14. That's ridiculous. We need to develop one universal standard that covers everyone's use cases. Yeah. Soon. Situation. There are 15 competing standards.
This happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, though, because in the EV world, there's really 2 ports.
2.5.
If you want to call it.
Yeah.
So, but the big ones are CCS and NACS. And it depends on kind of where you live, what you'll see a lot. If you live in Europe, you basically only see CCS. Teslas all have CCS, etc. In North America, in order to use a Tesla Supercharger, you must be driving a Tesla, which uses a different port than all of the rest of the cars in North America. A bunch of other cars using CCS, just Teslas use NACS. And so, so Ford's like, we kind of just want to jump on this supercharger network. I'm sure some money exchanged hands. I don't know the details of how this worked out, but this collab, I think, is a win for Ford EV buyers.
100%.
It's a win for Ford because it makes all of their EVs much more compelling. I think the Mach-E is about as close to a Model Y equivalent as you could possibly get at this point. And F-150 Lightning now is way more road trippable. Like, I could happily road trip being able to Tesla supercharge in an F-150 Lightning. So, it's a win as far as they're concerned. I think you can only consider it an L if you are a Tesla driver who's already experiencing really high wait times or busy superchargers. And that's about it.
That's the only thing, that's the only downside I see of this is, I will wait for the day when people are going to be like, I'm mad at Tesla because now all these other cars are at my charger and I'm waiting in long lines. I think on the East Coast, that's not that big of an issue. On the West Coast, there are some pretty long waits, but overall, this is a huge win. I also think it is really cool because the main announcement was 2025 Ford adapting NACS, but they said within next year or as early as next year, 12,000 superchargers in US and Canada will have the software integration to allow all the Ford cars, and I'm assuming we get an adapter at that point.
Yeah,
so
12,000.
I just wonder here, anything before next year, will Ford sell the adapter to these people? I'm sure they'll have some sort of software update because there's no way they're going to leave behind the 2022, 2023 Mach-E's and F-150s.
Yeah, I think all those people get this update as well. Yeah, 12,000. It was funny because when we did that video charging the Rivian on the Tesla Supercharger, it was one of 5 chargers in the US that got enabled with this dock, and you have to have the Tesla app and you use the adapter. But this is specifically all right, you've got the Ford, it will work.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
I have mixed feelings about this.
Interesting.
As someone who personally experienced the terrors of CCS road tripping in the Mach-E from Ford.
Yeah, that's right. It was the Mach-E.
And got not enough sleep because of it. that sounds great. I mean, if we had done this road trip and our Mach-E had the Tesla Supercharger, we probably would have gotten there at about the same time as you guys.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen that, it's on the studio channel. It's called the
I think we just have,
1,000 Mile
like, road-
Race.
I think ours might have just been like road trip vlog for studio channel.
Yeah, we did a road trip between a long range gas car, the longest range Tesla, and the longest range non-Tesla at the time, which was the Mach-E. Brandon and I got there 13 hours later.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Spoiler.
I feel mixed on this because it's great. The supercharger network is already massive, but the US in general is also spending tons of money to expand CCS, and there's been such a long period of time when everyone's been trying to decide, okay, what is the standard? What is the standard? What is the standard? Because if you go to a gas station, sure, there's like diesel, whatever, but it's all the same type of pump. It doesn't really matter like what's on the inside. As long as the connector is the same, that's all that really matters. And having these two competing ones is kind of weird now because Ford, makes the most popular car in the US, like the F-150, right?
Yep.
So if you have like Tesla and Ford that have the Tesla charger, and then you have everyone else on CCS, it's just going to like create this awkward separation. And then there's the whole thing where in the EU, Tesla has to use CCS. Mm-hmm. So it just feels like a standards mess. And I was kind of hoping that Tesla eventually just switched to CCS and retrofitted all of its superchargers with magic adapters.
Here's the thing about that. The NACS connector is better. And that's
It is better. It's so much smaller. It's
smaller,
so much faster.
Thin cable, super fast. And like they've built the whole network. They've spent all those billions of dollars in the US to like optimize this. We've got 250 kilowatt chargers and that thin cable plugging it right in. And that's so well done in the US that the only reason they do it in Europe is because they had to.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would love to also do NACS everywhere. So
do you know why? Like, I know that Elon was trying to make NACS the standard, and it just didn't happen. Do you know why it didn't happen?
I don't know exactly. I'd have to look up the details, but I'm pretty sure that they were forced to use CCS.
Because it was called NACS.
Europe.
Can't use that in Europe.
Can't use that in Europe. Well, even in the U.S., right? Like the Biden administration just put like a ton of money into developing chargers throughout the United States, but I'm pretty sure it's mostly CCS chargers.
It'll be CCS.
Well, it had to be, I believe in that bill, the charging network had to be able to use more than a single company's worth of electric vehicles, which I think is why we saw that push to the, what's the like magic adapter or whatever? Like
dock.
Magic dock. Yeah. So like this feels like maybe potentially one part of that. I do think one thing here that's a little different and not as bad in terms of standards is like, Teslas all come with an adapter for CCS no matter what, right?
No, they did until 2020.
Now they charge you?
They charge you for CCS.
It doesn't come with it anymore.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to turn into this point of, are you going to start getting charged for that, or is it going to come with your car? Because it does seem like the software enabling is what was blocking CCS from using, or non-Tesla chargers from like having some sort of an adapter. Like, I don't think there was any hardware difficulties of creating the adapter. I'm sure someone could have done it, but software was limiting it. I don't think adapting both ways is going to be that hard. And like, if we see this magic dock, they're obviously opening it up for more people. So that will be open for other sides. And then also Ford and Teslas can still go use Electrify America or any of those as well.
Yeah. I guess I'm just worried about my mom. How is my mom going to know what to do?
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. It's totally fair.
That's my main concern.
Yeah.
So
I hope they make it really easy. Like with the Rivian, they give a software update, so now you can see compatible chargers, and they include the Tesla Superchargers. But there's still a process of like, well, you have to have a Tesla app and a Tesla account, and then enable it in the Tesla, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Ideally, they make this easy with software, but that's not really up to them. So we'll see.
Thanks for watching this clip. My name is Marques Brownlee. Why is the background white? No one will ever know. You should like this clip, and yeah. Oh, there's a microphone. What are you guys doing? Nice. Album cover.
Like and subscribe.
Hit this.